Hello everyone! In today's lesson, we're going to deal with reading comprehension exercises, pre, while, and after reading exercises. Now, always remember that in the pre-reading exercises, you have an idea of what the text will be about, and the best thing to understand it is by the title and the subheadings. Now, you read the title, which is just going downstairs to buy some cheese, and then the subtitle of the task, which will be living above a shop, may be handy if you need something in a hurry, but it can take also, and it can be a risky business. Lynn Haywood spoke to 4 people with a story to tell. Now, these were the title and the subtitles. From this, try to guess what the text will be about. Then, during the text, we're going to deal with new words or phrases, which please remember are not always necessary for the main meaning of the text. If they are, remember that the author or the text makes an explanation for them during the task. Now, you're going to deal with stunt woman, bustling, amenities, nuisance, stacking, landlord, hum, and to be on first name terms. Now, this is a multiple matching task, which means that you're going to read the 4 parts together and try to match the given questions with each of the paragraphs. Now, let's read the text, just going downstairs to buy some cheese, and the subheading, living above a shop may be handy if you need something in a hurry, but it can also be a risky business. Lynn Haywood spoke to 4 people, each with a story to tell. So we have 4 people telling their stories about the house they live in. Macy Stigwall says, I bought my flat in Chelsea with the money I made as a stunt woman in a Bond film. I've been here since the 1960s when I rented it from a friend of a friend. By the 70s, I'd fallen in love with it and just had to have it for myself. It's in the King's Road, a bustling shop street with fantastic amenities literally on the doorstep. I live above a supermarket, which was a nuisance at first. I was regularly woken up by people stacking shelves at night. And then, of course, there were the early morning deliveries. However, the owners were very reasonable when I complained, and they sounded proof the ceiling, which helped cut down the noise. The second paragraph, B, is Paul Barton. When I first moved here, I had the peace and quiet I needed to write the novel I was working on. The shop below sold wool and knitting accessories, and there was a butcher's, a baker's, and 1 or 2 other specialist shops in the street. They're all gone now. Unfortunately, they couldn't compete with the out-of-town shopping malls and supermarkets which were springing up everywhere. The wool shop turned into a hairdresser's, and now you wouldn't believe what I have to put up with. If it isn't loud music, it's the television at full volume, and then there's everyone shouting above the noise of the hairdryers. I've had words with them on more than one occasion, but they just ignore me. The third paragraph, or the third part, is Julie Marland. Everyone thinks that living above a pub must be a nightmare. I've been lucky though. The landlord of the pub is very considerate, and apart from the occasional drinking, singing outside at midnight, so are the people who drink there. A few years ago, the landlord and I came to an agreement that he wouldn't play music above a certain volume after 10 o'clock. After a while, he decided to cut out music altogether, and all I hear now is a gentle hum of conversation coming up through the floor, which I find very relaxing. I'll be sad to leave the place, but I've got my eye on a large detached house in a village near here. It's the space I need. The last paragraph is Arthur Short, who says, It's the smell which has forced us to put our flat up for sale. Fish and chip shops are, by their nature, very smelly, and there's no way we or the owner can do anything about it, so there's no point complaining. In fact, I'm on first-name terms with everyone down there, and I often pop in to say hello. The noise isn't a problem. This is a lively part of town, and we've always preferred places where we can hear people coming and going. We wouldn't have it in any other way. We're moving out because we're tired of friends holding their nose every time and speak to us. It's getting beyond the joke now. Now, here are the questions. Sometimes there are two answers that you can give for each question. The first one is, I don't have to go far to do the shopping. Who says that? I have made unsuccessful complaints. I get on very well with the people below. I lived in the flat before I owned it. I don't very often have problems with customers. I live in a busy area, and there are two people who say this, and you're supposed to find both of them. The character of the area has changed for the worse. The owner of the business took action to reduce the noise, and it's two answers that you must give for this. I used to have perfect working conditions. My sleep was often interrupted. I like the noise that normally comes from below, which has two answers to give. And lastly, I intend to go and live somewhere else, which again has two answers to give. So, did you have an idea of which of the people state the following? In case you're unsure about, and before we check them together, I want to read and give you some reading tips for the multiple matching tasks. The first one is try to summarize each paragraph in order to better understand the overall content. This will help you to locate the specific information you need in order to answer the individual questions very quickly. Then, during the text, underline the key words in each question. Then, look for similar words or ideas in different sections. Also underline the justification for each answer in the text. Now, are you ready to confirm the answers together? The first one is B. The second is D. The third is A. The fourth is C. The fifth and sixth is A or D in any order, it doesn't matter. The seventh is B. For the eighth and ninth, it's A or C in any order. For the 10th, it's B. Number 11 is A. Number 12 and 13 are C and D in any order. And number 14 and 15 are again C and D in any order. Now, let's move on with some after-reading exercises so that we can understand how good were you at understanding the task. Find expressions in the text which have the following meanings. The letters in brackets, so these ones, refer to the relevant paragraphs. So you have to find a phrase for I have complained to them, we made a decision together, I'm interested in buying, advertise that we want to sell, I'm friendly with, and it's becoming irritating. And the answers for those is I've had words with them, which means I've complained to them. Then, if you made a decision together, that means you come to an agreement. If you're interested in buying something, then you got your eye on something. If you advertise that you want to sell something, you put it up for sale. You're friendly with someone, you say, I'm on first-name terms with him or her. It's becoming irritating. We also say it's getting beyond the joke. Now, please try to match the meaning of this phrasal verb with the following sentences. And the letter refers to the paragraph you can find them in. Now, you have the phrasal verbs cut down, spring up, turn into, put up with, you cut out, and you move out. And you have their meaning, which is to stop playing or doing something, to tolerate, to stop living in a house or a flat, reduce, to become something different, or to appear suddenly. Here are the answers. To cut down means to reduce. If something springs up, then it appears suddenly. If you turn into something, you say you become something different. If you put up with someone, you tolerate somebody. If you cut out something, that means you stop playing, doing, or eating something. And lastly, if you move out, that means you stop living in a house, in a flat, or somewhere. This was all we had prepared for you today. Thank you a lot for your attention.